Everyone. Good evening. How are you all doing today? Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are you all doing today? You can put it in the chats. Let's get to interact with one another. How are you all doing today? How are you all doing today? Seems like the Monday has not been a very nice day for some people. Correct? Great. Okay, I can see some chat now. Okay, that's good. Great. Calm 112. Um, Oluwafere, also great. That's good. That's good. That's good. Any other person? How you all doing today? Why is it so quiet in the house? Very okay. It's Monday. Exactly. I totally understand. And that's the reason why I will not be taking too much of your time. Okay. I won't be taking too much of your time today. We're just going to be talking about, you see, just about 20 people on the call. Billy, do you want to send a reminder to everyone that's supposed to be on the call for today? Okay. Very okay. It's Monday. All right, it's Monday. It's very stressful. It's been a very stressful week. Anyways, Mondays are usually like that. Do you understand? Well, regardless, we're going to be talking about. We're just going to be spending the next 2 hours together today to talk about getting started in AWS cloud engineering. So, have you guys heard of Have you heard of AWS cloud engineering before? Is this the first time you're going to be hearing of cloud engineering or AWS in the first place? Let's start with AWS. Is this the first time you're going to be hearing of AWS? Put it in the chat. Let's use the chat. We're going to be using the chat to interact with one another today. So is this the first time or have you heard of AWS? What's the situation? Why is everyone so quiet today? It's so unusual for us to get a very, very quiet class. So you could just use the chat. Is the chat working for you guys? Is it working for everyone? Seems too quiet for everyone to be. Okay, don't worry. I guess if that's the situation, if people are not willing to interact today, so I think I'll just go ahead to just cut. Okay. So nobody wants to chat up with me today. Nobody's making class interactive for me. So not the first time, but I have a little or no knowledge about it. Not the first time. Okay, that's good. So I just have a few people responding to me. But anyways, anybody that responds to me, that's fine. I'm going to make it as interactive as possible. I'll try to bring it home as much as possible so that we can all understand exactly what we are doing today. We're just about 24 of us in class today, so it's going to be we're just going to try our best to get everyone, on the call so that you understand better. So we're going to be starting first. As usual, we're going to talk about a little bit about analytics, why we are doing what we are doing, what's the whole essence of, having a platform what's the whole essence of the analytics, essentially. All right. So Analytics is an educational technology firm, and we specialize in, providing, Africans, people of the Black community with premium tech skills and enable them, transition into their desired career in tech. All right, that's why we are having sessions back to back to create awareness that these things that you feel like are too technical for you to learn, you could actually learn them. Okay, you can actually just settle down. All right, and we will provide you with a structured learning approach that will guide you through your learning experience. That's really why we started. And this is born out of the demand or the necessity for it. All right. We have a lot of people relocating. We have a lot of people looking for better jobs, looking for better careers. People are not happy with their current careers and all that. And we saw that, don't even know that they can actually learn this skill and get a job. All right. People really don't know that these skills exist. All right. And that's why we're doing this awareness to, provide people with this knowledge and essentially get them prepared for the job workforce. Okay. So we offer training programs across different tech ecosystem, data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, and Power Platform. So basically, that's like the key thing for us to get more Africans aware. I'm not just aware, okay, but also help hold people's hand and guide them through the journey of getting their first job in tech. That's exactly what we are doing. All right. And we leverage professionals that have experience. So you're going to be working with people that have experience, people that are currently working in those roles. All right. People like myself that have, close to a decade or over a decade experience in the role that you're going to be tuning in for. All right. So essentially, we call this experiential learning. Okay. So these people have that experience and they're going to be using their experience to teach you. And that's exactly how to get better. So you're going to be working with real life case studies, industry relevant case studies. That's what we're going to be working with. All right. Uh, all right. So, we did quite a number of things last year. Okay. And that's the reason why we are also pushing as hard as possible. Because if we could do that last year, we said this year we need to be able to do more. All right. So last year we helped 300 people transition into tech, from classroom. All right. From classroom to getting their first job in tech. So that's literally why that's like the impressive thing now. 300 people are people that don't even have any iota of previous experience, nothing. All right. Some of them were entrepreneurs, some of them were working customer service, some of them were care, some of them were doing whatever job out there. All right. And they were able to learn the skill and they were able to get their first job in tech. And I'll share some of the testimonials with you as we go on during the session for today. All right. And some of them are now working with top firms across the world. We have them working with Nestle, we have them working with Total, Cognizant, HSBC, NHS, Post Office, Coca-Cola, and so on and so forth. So quite a number of firms across the world, these are our participants currently work with. All right, there are more than this anyways. These are just some new features that we featured in. All right, Business Day, Nairametrics, The Punch, PR Fire is based in Europe. All right, and we're featured on them in the news dailies, and they actually just stated that, all right, analytics reiterates commitment to help Africans get tech jobs in Europe. All right, our tentacles has gone far beyond Europe now. We have people getting jobs in Asia, getting jobs in America, North and South America, so on and so forth. So, we are essentially getting people aware that you can actually learn this skill and land a dream job. So my name is Ifemena April. I am the co-founder of Tenalytics. And I've worked as a data analyst, I've worked as a data scientist, business intelligence developer, data engineer, cloud engineer. I've worked across different platforms across my experience as a full-time, part-time contract. And that's basically the way I've, gathered my experience, not necessarily staying in one role for too long, I won't lie to you. All right. But anyways, I've gone, just that's, moving from one place to the other to grow my experience, to build the technologies I've worked with, and so on and so forth. So, honestly, it was my role. It was when I, was working with DPD back then, as a business intelligence developer. That's when I was thinking about, the demand for Africans to be in tech. All right. Because even as the first role in an international firm, everybody was either they were all white. All right. And they started asking questions. We had a lot of people that came to do masters together. Africans, all right, Nigerians, majority of them were not working. Majority of them were doing warehousing, or they were doing care, or they were doing some other kind of menial job. All right. So actually, I just started with just a small community of friends. Okay. And that's really just a small community of friends, help them and help them. And these guys now work with top firms back in Ireland. All right. So I was now wondering that if I never did that, all right, if I never, showed them not necessarily show them the light, or if I didn't, tell them that these things were possible, or I did and all them, they would never have believed that they could actually learn this and transition. All right. So we said that, okay, rather than just doing it for just guys in Ireland, let's push it out. Let's push it out to literally anybody across the world, African across the world, that are looking to learn the skill, develop themselves, and transition. That's, how the international landscape actually started. But anyways, that's just to tell you that these things is possible. All right. In as much as, there's so many life issues that might showcase itself. All right. But just know at the back of your mind that, you have analytics that will literally unhold you through your journey to becoming professional in the tech landscape. And that's exactly what we're doing. So I have close to a decade experience working across all these organizations, leveraging different tools, technology, softwares, and all that. And, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. We can connect, have conversations and all that. That's fine. So what are we going to do in the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hour stops? What are we going to be talking about? I'm going to be giving you a practical knowledge of AWS cloud engineering. Okay. The pathway to becoming a data engineer and securing a job, remote full-time and tech relocation opportunities, our special offer. So I have a special offer for you. And lastly, the Analytics Growth Internship Program. So we're going to be starting first with the practical knowledge of AWS engineering, cloud engineering, okay? And we're going to be starting from the very basics. So these are the things we're going to cover today. The practical knowledge, how to become a data engineer and secure a job, full-time, remote full-time and tech relocation opportunities, special offer. We have a special offer for you and the Analytics Growth Internship Program. So these are the things that we're going to be talking about in the next 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hour stops. Okay. All right. Somebody's asking, where am I currently based? I'm currently based in the UK. Okay. I'm currently based in the UK. All right. So talking about the masterclass for today. All right. The burst of data. So you see, cloud engineers are now like one of the highest paid professionals in the data landscape. Data engineers, cloud engineers are one of the highest paid career paths in the tech landscape, not just data landscape, but tech as a whole. So it's inclusive of software engineers, inclusive of cybersecurity. They are one of the highest paid at the moment. Now the key question is why? All right. And that why will be answered through the question you have here, the burst of data. The burst of data. Now, data literally is everywhere. Data is everywhere. Now, I want to ask you a quick question. We all use smartphones, and one question I would like to ask you is, do you know the amount of data that you generate on a monthly basis? Do you know the amount of data that you generate? Can you take a wide guess? The amount of data that you generate on a monthly basis. Now, the key, even once I ask, every time I've asked this question, people really just guess, you're right, but nobody really nobody has ever gotten the amount of data that they generate on a monthly basis. Nobody really gets it. Nobody can comprehend. All right. So you see, you generate data from your text, send messages, receiving text messages, phone calls, you call, you receive call, the Zoom call, Google Meet call, Skype calls and all that. You have phone calls on a daily basis. Either you're calling or you're receiving. Emails, the same thing. You said you receive. Even if you don't want to even receive, you will get all those, your junk emails, you get all those, somebody sending to you. Then Analytics will send you email, all right, for you to register for the program. All right. Photos also, you receive photos, you take photos, you snap photos, you do all those things, you record videos, you do searches on the website, Google searches and all that. Music, the same thing. You listen to music, you watch music videos and all that. So you do it on a daily basis without knowing the amount of data that you generate on a monthly basis. All right, you do this constantly every day in, day out. Now the estimate is 40 exabytes are generated by a single individual every month. 40 exabytes. Now, I'm very sure most people don't know what exabyte is. So I'm going to take out time to show you what exabyte is. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to put 1 exabyte. 1 exabyte to gig. We're all familiar with gig. All right. You see, 1 exabyte is equals to 1 billion gigs. 1 exabyte is equals to 1 billion gigs. All right, so let's do the quick math. What? 1 exabyte, okay, is equals to 1 billion gigs, GB. All right, so that means if we were talking about 40 exabytes, all right, that will be what? That will be literally what? 40 billion what? Gigs. All right, that will be 40 billion gigs. All right. So that's 40 billion gig that you generate on a monthly basis, just you, a single individual. One individual, right? One single individual using a smartphone, you generate that on a monthly basis. All right. Now, the second estimate is there's an estimate of 5 billion smartphone users across the world. All right. 5 billion smartphone users across the world. Okay. 5 billion. Now, imagine 5 billion generating 40 billion of gigs every single month. Just an estimate. This is all estimate. Just imagine 5 billion smartphones generating 40 billion of gigs on a monthly basis. All right. Obviously, once if you try to do this calculation, you know that you cannot. The numbers of zeros you're going to get is going to be absolutely is going to be absolutely ridiculous, in terms of the number. All right. So that's the extent, and that's why we talk about the burst of data. So when you're talking about cloud engineering, you can't talk about cloud engineering without putting these into concept, into perspective. All right. One individual generates 40 billion gig every month. You generate 40 billion gig every month. Now, 5 billion smartphone users doing the same thing, we generate what? 20, I don't know what, number, a very huge chunk of number, all right, that they generate every single month. All right. So now let's take that, you've seen that obviously data, is large. Now the key question is, where is this data being stored? Do you think it's stored in a flash drive, or is stored in a hard disk, or is it stored in what do you call it? A flash drive, hard disk, or is it stored? Where do you think this data is being stored? You go on Instagram, you upload a photo. Where do you think it's stored? All right. You go on Netflix, you want to watch a movie. Where do you think that movie is stored? Those are the key questions you need to ask yourself. And that's really why there's so much demand for cloud engineers. All right. That is one of the main reasons why there is so much demand for cloud engineers. So now, another key question I would like to talk about is data. What is data? Right? We're talking about the boss of data. We're talking about so many things about data, 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 data. But what actually is data? All right. So I'm very sure a lot of you would probably have an understanding. Some people will say data is their information and all that. But let me just break it down to you so that you understand it better. Data are facts, okay, and statistics collected for reference and analysis. It's a simple text. Data are facts and statistics collected for reference and analysis, reference or analysis. Now, I'm going to break this down better for you so you understand. Now, take for example, you go to the bank and you want to open a new account. You want to open a bank account, okay? So you walk into any bank close to you, Lloyd's Bank, GT Bank, or Sterling Bank, whatever bank that is close to you. You go into the bank account, all right? So they are definitely going to give you a form, either a paper-based form or an online form, okay, for you to fill. All right. Now, the moment you start to fill that form, they are collecting your data. All right. What is your name? Male or female? Date of birth, mother's maiden name, father's this, that, and all that. They are basically collecting your data. Right. So the key thing you need to know is that you are giving them facts about yourself. All right. As an individual, my name is Ifemena April. That's a fact. So when they say put your first name here, Ifemena, last name April, that's a fact. That's the fact about me that I'm dropping down, and that's data. All right. Date of birth, I put in the date of birth. All right. That's another fact about me. So that's data about me. And that's why during the Cambridge Analytica, all right, during the time there was issues with the America election and all that. Okay, one of the Congress people said a very critical thing, and he said Mark Zuckerberg is the most powerful person in the world. Okay, and that's because he holds facts about billions of people across the world, billions of facts about you. You go on Facebook, your picture is there. You do videos, you do so many things on Facebook. All right. And all that, and it's not just Facebook, it's the same thing on Instagram. Okay. Same thing on WhatsApp. So you're doing fact, you're sending fact, you sent a message, it's a fact that you send all those messages you're sending, you're receiving, the pictures you're downloading, and those are facts about whatever conversation that you guys are holding. All right. So basically facts are facts about you. All right. And I've brought it to you when you go to the bank, you try to open an account. All right. You are requested to put in facts about yourself. Now the next thing is statistics. Okay. The next thing, statistics, numbers. Okay. So you open a bank account, you're going to be putting money inside your bank account. Okay. The fact is you're going to put money inside your bank account. All right. You put 5,000 today, you put 5,000 tomorrow, you put another 10,000 the next day. Everything will sum up to 20,000. And every time you go into the bank, all right, there's a statistic there. Your account balance is 20,000 naira. All right. That's data. Okay. Now, it is collected, these facts, your bank statement is collected, your bank, when you put in your name, your address, and all those facts about you, when you use it to open the bank account, all right, they are collected for what? Two things, referencing and analysis. All right. So talking about referencing, so if you open a bank account today, okay, and there's an issue with the bank account, what would you do? You go back to the bank and you just they'll ask you for your account number or your first name or your last name or something unique about you. All right. And they'll use that to reference the time you open the account. All right. They can easily tell you that, oh, okay, yes, I can see that you opened a bank account on Saturday or on Friday, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and so on and so forth. So data can be used to reference activities that are occurring. All right. So and I'm going to still walk you through this in another scenario. Analysis for the last part of it is at the end of everything, your data can be analyzed to tell you more about yourself. So take, for example, the same bank account, okay? At the end of the month, to tell you, oh, total transaction is 5 million. All right, total inflow was 10 million. Total this was that. All right, the average transaction per day was this. That's using your own data, all right, to analyzing your data, telling you more about your data. So these are these are the key things you need to understand about data. Data are facts and statistics collected for reference and analysis. Now let me put this in in a more story-like perspective. Now, sending money, this example, talking about the definition of data. Let's talk about data, explaining it through sending money. All right. Now, to send money, you need facts about the person you want to send it to. All right. So in order for you to send, in order for me to send, let me pick somebody's name, Adeleye, okay, Abib. In order for me to send Adeleye Abib, as a money, all right, I will need facts about Adeleye. And what kind of fact am I looking for? The name on the bank account, the account number, and other bank information. Those are facts about Adeleye. Okay. So if I want to send money to you, I need facts about you. Okay. Your account number is unique to you. All right. No other person is going to have your own account number. All right. So that account number is a fact about you. All right. So if I want to send you money, all right, I need your name, your account number, your bank details, so on and so forth. All right. That's a fact. Now, in terms of statistics this time around, okay. So I said data is what? They are facts and statistics. Now, looking at statistics, the total amount sent and the account balance thereafter is what we refer to as statistics. So if I had 5,000, if I have 15,000 in my account, okay, and I sent you 5,000, all right, those amount that is transacting, 5,000 was sent, after I take now 15 minus 5 that I sent, that my account balance will remain 10,000 while I have sent Adeleye 5,000. So those are statistics, okay, all right. Now, if there are any issues with the transaction, what would you do? Okay, Adele has not seen the money I sent to him. Adele goes to the bank and asks questions, okay? Probably they tell Adele, tell the person that sent you money to go to their bank to confirm that the money has left the account. So what would I do? I would need to take up and move also to the bank to confirm that the money I sent left my account. How would they do that? The bank teller or the customer service person is going to ask me questions around, please, can I get your account number? Or can I get the reference code to the transaction? All right. So once you get those reference or either the account number or a reference code or some kind of code, all right, they would use that to reference that, oh, the money is stuck in the cloud or the money is stuck in the air. Do you understand? Give it 1 day, give it 2 days, or I give it 24 hours, it's going to revert by itself. So those are the things. All right. So that's another thing. Data can be used to reference. So if there was no data, nobody will be able to tell you that, oh, I sent money last week. Oh, I sent money tomorrow. Oh, I sent money, I'm going to send you. Basically, you can use data as a point of reference. Okay. And last but not the least is analysis. So, like I said, on the account, you are going to receive, you're going to send out money and all that. So you can easily do the average amount spent per day, per month, per week. You can do analysis on the account to find out, how transactions goes in and goes out. So essentially, this is data. So you can see this is literally everything you need to know about data is exactly what we have here. Data are facts, statistics for reference or analysis. All right. So, and data has been around for a very long time. A lot of people feel like because of we talking about data now, that data is new. Data is just finding. All right. But I'm very sure you guys remember this particular this file folder. This folder. I'm very sure you guys remember this folder. Can anybody tell me where they've seen this folder before? This kind of folder. Does anybody know where they've seen this folder before? Anybody have seen any folder like this before? I just need at least one answer. Okay. So if you're very common, if you go into public spaces, okay, the bank, all right, bank, exactly. Bank, you see it in the bank, you see it in hospitals, public institutions, secretariat, and all that. You will definitely see this in here. All right. So your data has always existed for a very long time. And that's why I like to do when I'm talking about cloud, I usually talk about how how data transition from this point to the cloud. Now, this was at this point in time, I remember back then, whenever you go to the hospital, you have cupboards like this, file folders like this. All right. So whenever you go to the hospital, you tender your what do you call it, the hospital card. All right. So you give them the card. There's a unique number on your card. It might be 47712. Do you understand? They take that card. All right. They go into the folder room. All right. They go into the folder room to look for your number. All right. So they'll look for the cabinet that starts with 41. Okay. Then they'll look for 412 and they'll bring it down and they try to get the exact locker that contains your card. All right. It could be your first name, your last name. Oh, what's your last name? April, IK. They'll go and look for IK. All right. And they bring out the folder. Now, the moment they bring out your folder, all right. The moment they bring out your folder, all right, and they bring it out and they give it to the doctor can, once the doctor opens it and starts to flip through the pages in your folder, those are data about you. That's data that has been, well, it's physical. All right. So you might feel like, oh, it's not digital, okay? But it's a physical copy of your data. So if you came in last month, all right, for a cut on your thumb, all right, or you came in last month for a stomach ache, it's there. It's a fact that you came in last month. Do you understand? All right. Your height, your weight, everything about you, your date of birth, everything, your blood group, and every other detail that's about you is in the file. It's data that is being stored in paper formats that has been captured about you and stored. All right. But now this folder, this cabinet is a database. All right. It's a physical database that we can see with our eyes, we can touch it. All right. It's a physical database, manual. But the problem with this is, if they were only servicing 500 customers initially, they were only serving 500 customers. All right. It's going to be perfectly fine. It's not every day somebody will be sick. It's not every day, 70 people or 100 people will come into the hospital. So if they have like 500 customers, it's fine. It's okay. You can use the cabinet. You're fine. All right. But you see, the problem is scalability. You need to be able to do more, get more customers. You don't want to be static. You want to be able to do more, get more customers, make more money, and so on. So you see, with the rise of with the rise of people coming in to take on more service. Okay, so if your hospital is very good, everybody will talk about your hospital. all right, and everybody want to come to your hospital. So for 500 customers, you might increase to, 1,000. From 1,000, you increase to 2,000, 5,000, all right, and you start to increase. Now, if you have like 5,000 customers, do you know how many cabinets you would need in your hospital? You will need a lot of cabinets to store plenty people's files, all right? And even if one person's file gets too big, what happens? You will need to get another bigger file, get another bigger folder, so on and so forth. You see, so many challenges with this particular system, all right? So, that's where what gave birth to spreadsheet application. So people started moving to spreadsheets to store customer information, to store customer data, so on and so forth. So people started using spreadsheet. If you remember back then, all right, you see there's so much demand for spreadsheets experts, spreadsheet experts coming to come and work on the spreadsheet. You must be a spreadsheet, you must have experience working with spreadsheet, not for data analysis, all right, rather for data entry, all right, using it for data entry. So using Excel as a database back then. All right, but Excel also has a lot of limitations in terms of scalability, security, data security, and so on. All right, so Excel also failed the test of time. All right, so and that's when Excel did not work, you see people now went to what we call on-premise database. So this database, I'm sure if you go into any bank in Nigeria at the moment, you will see something like this. I'm not sure. It's been a while went into a Nigerian bank, but majorly in Nigerian banks, you will see each branch would have like this kind of system. Am I correct? All right. You'll see stuff like this. Okay. That room, if you've ever entered any room like this that has like wires, something is always sounding. There's like a very, very not very humming sound. All right. It's sounding there. You see a lot of wires, AC is there. Place is always very cold. All right. That's what you call an on-premise, database service. All right. That's designed to store information from that particular branch, being able to connect to other branches, basically like a communication round for people to store information and all that. Have you ever seen this before? All right. Have you ever seen this before? Have you ever seen this data, this stuff that looks like this before? Have you ever seen this before? And if you've seen it, where have you seen it? In your office, or where have you seen it? All right. So Lucky is saying yes. Okay, that's good. All right. So fantastic. So that's an on-premise database. So basically, people move from arc level files to a spreadsheet application, spreadsheet to database. But this is on-premise. All right. It's on-premise, meaning that every location would have its own structure like this. Meaning that every location will have its own structure like this. Meaning that you would have dedicated light supply. Okay. If NEPA takes light, there must be like a solar panel, or there must be like an inverter that will always keep these guys running constantly. All right. So if there's no light, forget it, nothing will work. So if a bank branch, for example, gen goes off, inverter is bad, nothing will happen in that branch that day. Nothing, zero, nothing will happen in that branch. So in terms of scalability, you see, this one also will not be scaled. Imagine Amazon is working in Amazon, Facebook, and all the big firms, Netflix, they're using this kind of system. It's impossible. This will fail. It's going to fail like badly, because obviously the 24-hour supply, you have constant AC, you need constant AC, you need constant security, you need constant, maintenance, physical maintenance and all that. So this one is unscalable. All right. You can also scale with this particular kind of setup. On-premise database system is still used. People still use it for, to store and secure, very private customer data. They still use it. But anyways, we'll talk about that as we go on. All right. So you see, and that's what really gave birth to, cloud computing, cloud. So people used to store from what they call it, the file folder, okay, the cabinet. People used to store data like this. They moved into spreadsheet. They moved into spreadsheets. From spreadsheets, they moved into on-premise databases. And from on-premise, they moved into the cloud. All right. And now, cloud, all these people, all of you that want to work remotely, cloud is one of the main reasons why you can work remotely. Honestly speaking, cloud is one of the main reasons why you can work remotely, meaning that you don't have to be in a physical location like this guy here. All right. This guy here, isn't if he wants to do any work, he has to go into his office to be able to connect to this database to be able to do his daily task for the day. All right. But because of the cloud, okay, I can access the cloud from anywhere. I can access the cloud from anywhere, any location. All right. So if my office is in Nigeria, all right, and I travel to the UK, I travel to America, to Canada, to Tokyo, to China, I will still be able to access the cloud platform and perform all the operations I need to do. And that's one of the reasons what gave birth to this remote work, what really fostered remote, this remote working, landscape that we work in. All right. So let's talk about why the cloud. Why cloud? Let's talk about that. Why cloud? I've already explained it, but let's put it into more perspective, into more storytelling. Did you guys ever buy movies disc from this? And if you ever bought any disc like this, disc movies, there must be a season that must have attracted you to be buying this in bulk. Do you understand? So if you ever remember this kind of movies, buying this, all right, what movie can you relate? What movie comes to mind when you remember this kind of disc? What movie comes to mind? Let me see. Let me see if I can resonate with anybody in the house here. If you ever try to buy disc like this, what will you buy? I think this people might be saying Smallville, fantastic. I absolutely love that. Smallville was a movie that I saw. Legend of the Seeker. Absolutely, yeah. Prison Break, fantastic, fantastic. I would like to this guy. You guys are the real OGs. I would like. All right. So Lost 24, Smallville, Legend of the Seeker, Prison Break. These are like top season back in the days. Anytime you see, I think it was one of the seasons. I can't remember now. Can't remember. I think it was Game of Thrones. I was watching with this. All right, season one. I had season one. It was just season one, though, just about 10, 12 episodes. But from these people, they had season 1 to 6 for just season one alone. Just season one to season one, just season one, 12 episodes. I think it's about 12 episodes. But in this guy's show, all right, I was in season 1 to season 6. And only season one day available. Do you understand? So this thing, honestly, when I remember these things here back in the day, it's actually very interesting. All right, but everyone remembers, everybody remembers a shop like this. I'm not sure people still buy this. I won't lie to you. I honestly don't believe people still buy this. But anyways, let's move on from there. So you remember this. The next thing is you also remember you collecting movies from people. I'm sure some people still do this. All right. You have an hard disk. Okay. You have an hard disk. And anytime you go to your friend's place, you're always asking, do you have new movies? And you collect the new movies using a flash drive. Okay. Or a hard disk. I'm sure you guys still do this. All right. You guys still do this. Or, one way or the other. If you're not using Netflix, you're not using, other platforms. Okay. But you still use this. All right. So this is what do you call it? A local device that allows you to store information, to store data, to store movies, music, and all that into the hard disk. All right. So I'm pretty sure you still do this one way or the other. All right. If you're outside the country, you will never do this. All right. But if you're based in Nigeria, you might still be doing this. I won't lie to you. But the key question is, what replaced these tools? People are not buying disk as much as they used to buy disk. CD. All right. I bet guy alpha. I want to go and buy disk. I want to go and buy CD. I want to watch Legend of the Seeker. I want to watch what's the recent I want to go and watch Game of Thrones. You go and buy disc. So disc really don't nobody buys disc anymore as much as they used to. All right. Even storage devices don't really exist the demand for it has dropped drastically. Flash drive, memory disk, hard disk, CD drive, floppy disk, and all that. Everything has, it's gone into, so it's not extinct, but the demand of it has gone down drastically. Now, the key question is why? Why has this thing dropped? Why don't we get to see a demand for this thing increasing? Why has it dropped drastically? The key answer is the tools that have replaced them, cloud-based platform. Now, rather than having a hard disk to be storing movie, I can get a OneDrive. I can get a OneDrive, okay? And whenever I go to my friend's place, rather than me carrying a physical hard disk, I'll go to my guy's place and I'll just log into my OneDrive, drag the movies into his OneDrive, into the OneDrive. All right. If I want files, okay, back there, all you need to do is just move it to your OneDrive or your Google Drive, and you're fine. You're good to go. Now, in terms of CD, I don't need CD anymore. Okay. I have Netflix that stores all the movies for me. All right. So any movie I'm looking for, if it's not on Netflix, where would I go to? I'll go to Prime. I'll go to Hulu. I'll go to other online video streaming sites for me to watch the movie in, at my own comfort without having a physical disc, without getting a DVD to read these devices. So these are cloud-based platform. Music, the same thing. You have your Apple Music, you have Spotify, you have YouTube Music, you have all this YouTube, you have all this platform that have been, that has been devised to store data. All right. But where are they storing this data? Where do you think Netflix stores their data? Store it in the cloud. So that regardless of anywhere you are today, you're in Toronto, tomorrow you're going to Japan, next day you're in Malaysia. That's on your Netflix profile. Whenever you go onto it, as long as you have internet, you can access your profile, you can watch your movies. Right? The same thing with OneDrive. Back then, during the master's program, everybody was carrying laptop or hard disk or flash drive here and there. Right? So whenever you had a class, you just move to a new class and you log into your OneDrive. And all your materials, all your code base, everything is stored in there. Everything you continue with what you're working on. All right. Music, back in the days, remember the small, what do you call it, small drive where you store your music. All those things don't exist anymore. And that's because of cloud. Everything can now be stored in the cloud. Your Instagram, whenever you upload a picture on Instagram, where do you think it's stored? It's not stored on your device. Where is it stored? Stored in the cloud. Anytime as long as you have internet, what would happen? You would be able to access your profile, you'll be able to see your pictures, you'll be able to see everything. Same thing with Google Photos. Back in the days, everybody was buying memory card. You will buy memory card, 500 gig, 200 gig, and all that. Put it on your phone so that your phone is always, anytime you snap pictures, you can always save it to your memory card. But now those things don't exist anymore. They still exist, no doubt about that. But there's other platforms that's better options, like your Google Cloud, your Google Photos. Every time you have more photos, what do? You move it to your Google Photos, store it in the cloud, and it is secured. Once you get a new phone, what do you need to do? You need to just sign in to your Google Cloud and everything comes into your new device. So you see, cloud-based platform, that is the hint thing. That is what is driving every application, every business. Everybody's going to the cloud. Everybody's moving to the cloud. All right. And that's why there's so much demand for cloud engineers. All right. That's why there's so much demand for cloud engineers. All right. So what's AWS? Let's talk about AWS. Let's talk about cloud computing. Okay. What's this cloud computing? All right. Cloud computing is the delivery of on-demand computing service over the internet on a pay-as-you-go basis. Now, this might sound very, very technical to some people. All right. Because the word jargons, on-demand computing services over the internet, it's too much for some people. And I will try to explain it to you. Now, take for example, let's use the Google Photos, okay? Or let's use OneDrive. If you've ever used OneDrive, if you've ever used Google Photos, you'll be able to resonate with this. So you see, whenever you store, all right, they give you one aspect for free. I don't know how many gig is free on Google Photos, but one is free. Let's say about, I don't even know, I can't really guess, to be honest. I think it's about a few gig that is free. Let's just say about, say 20 gig is free. on Google Photos, free of charge. So anything you store up to 20 gig is free of charge. But the moment you exceed 20 gig, all right, what would happen? They will nudge you to do what? To pay for extra. To pay for extra. That extra. That your 20 gig is your data has increased above 20 gig. So what you need to do, you will need to pay for an extra space. All right. You will need to pay for an extra space. All right. That's the pay as you go. All right. So you're only paying for the parts that you need. All right. You're only paying for the parts that you need. All right. Now, these services, all the services that is you're talking about cloud, they are all accessible through the internet. Through the internet, you would need internet to be able to access these platforms. All right. Take, for example, Netflix. You want to watch a movie online, you need internet to access the movies you want to watch. All right. So the same thing with your music, Spotify, YouTube music, and all that. You would need what? You would need the internet to access these platforms. All right. So that's exactly what we're talking about, the internet and pay as you go. So you see, rather than managing files on local storage devices, cloud computing makes it possible to save them over the internet. All right. So you see, that's why Netflix kicked blockbusters out of business. All right. If you remember blockbusters back in the days, they were the OGs in terms of renting movies, collecting movies, new movies, and all that. Blockbusters were the in thing. All right. But now, Netflix came and provided it over the internet. The same thing blockbusters were doing, brick and mortar. Netflix brought it into the internet. So you really don't need to leave your house to watch a movie or to rent a movie. All right. You can just be in the comfort of your house and access that same movie over the internet. And that's the beauty about cloud computing. All right. That's exactly what we're talking about. So let's talk about the difference between on-premise, okay, which is the physical location of a database, okay, on-premise and cloud computing, okay. So on-premise is the physical. So once you go into the bank branch, you go into First Bank, for example, you just see one room painted white, okay. There's the AC there. There's one big. There are wires everywhere. All right, that's an on-premise, server, on-premise data structure for the branch in order for them to be able to access other branches information, the headquarter information, and all that. Basically, a connection, essentially. Then we have cloud computing. Let's see the difference between the two of them. Okay. So the first one, the first point, okay, the reasons why people are moving to the cloud. The first one is huge space for server, AC, and other infrastructural, infrastructures. Okay. So for the on-premise, you will need a dedicated space within your location. All right. You need a dedicated room, a dedicated office, a dedicated space designed for the on-premise database. All right. Now, cloud computing, you don't need any space. Zero. All right. Zero. You need no space. Zero. And that's why you have a lot of startups that are using co-working space. All right. You see a very small business of 3, 5 people, startup, moving millions, billions of dollars. All right, just 5 people, and they don't even have an office space. So no server space required. You don't need any physical location, any physical space in order for you to store your data and all that. Second part is the team is required to maintain hardware and software. So for this, you'll see networking expert. I remember back in the days, I wanted to become a networking. I wanted to do network. I did networking actually. All right. So the likes of CCNA and all those certification, I did all that back in the days. All right. And that's because of the demand of on-premise back in the days also. So you see, with this, you would need somebody that is good with networking. You would need somebody that will be good with software, server to work on the server and all that. You will need to employ extra hands. So even on the weekend, you need people that will be coming in on the weekend to monitor the server, to monitor the system that you have built in there. That's the on-premise. But with cloud computing, everything is in the cloud. You don't need a team that would maintain hardware and software for you. You don't need any experts. You don't need anybody that will manage any physical location. You don't need security guards. You don't need anything. All right. So you can see cloud computing is winning at the moment. Okay. The next thing is higher pay, less scalability. Now, let me explain this. Higher pay and less scalability. Now, if your business starts to grow, right? Your business starts to grow, and we're talking about on-premise system around. When your business starts to grow and you start to get more customers, for example, threads, when threads started, threads, we all know when threads, that's the Instagram, Twitter lookalike. Okay. Now, when Trade started, they had what 5,000. Let's say when they started, they had like 5 million, or let's say about 500,000. Okay, let's say they started 1 hour. They had 500. They had 500 customer base. All right. Within the next 2 hours, it became 2 million. Within the next 3 hours, it became 5 million. Within the next week, it became, I think it's about 10 million or thereabouts. One ridiculous number. I can't remember. I think it's about 50 million, even though one ridiculous number like that. All right. Now, how was it possible for threads to scale so quickly? Why do you think that application was able to scale from 500, from zero customers, from zero users to over 10 million users? How do you think it was able to scale at the snap of a finger? All right, as fast, as quick as possible. Now, if they were using an on-premise database, if Threads, if Meta, Facebook, if they are using an on-premise database, they would never be able to scale as fast as that. All right. If they want to scale, it means that they will need to they will need to keep buying these servers, okay, this server, this instrument, this network. They will need to buy as many as possible, all right, in order for them to scale. All right. They will need so much physical space, so much materials, so much, wires, networking, cables, experts, and all that, in order for them to keep creating, physical locations like this that would have all the server, the routers, and all that in order for them to scale. Now, the bad thing is, if customer reduces, all right, let's say user reduces, or maybe something happens that it requires them to reduce the number of users or the number of load on the platform, it means that that physical location that they've built is useless. Physical location they've built to accommodate that large number of customers, if they eventually don't get to that large customer, it means those spaces, those investments that they did, building infrastructures and all that, is down the drain. The money is gone down the drain. All right. So it's higher, it's more expensive. It's very expensive to own this kind of infrastructure, to store, to create, and all that. But for the cloud, it is pay as you go. It is pay as you go. So it's as simple as like Threads, like take for example Threads, 500 customer, all right, they get to 2 million. So what would they do? They just go to their Amazon Web Services and do what? Increase, keep paying, keep increasing. As the customer base increases, they keep increasing. All right. And that's the way you pay as you go. If something happens, okay, and they don't get to that desired threshold, they can easily just, instead of paying for 500 gig, they can just reduce it to back to 100 gig. All right, but for a physical location, you can't start selling. That means you have to sell physical hardware in order for you to get your money back. Well, with the pay as you go, which is the cloud computing aspect, okay, you can easily just scale down, all right, and pay for that part that you're using. All right, so that's the benefit of cloud computing also. All right. So we have other parts, which is less chance of data recovery. Okay. So for on-premise, you have less chance of data recovery. So let's say branch gets burnt down. All right. So I know a lot of in the bank. I used to, work with the banks. Okay, especially for in terms of management consulting. So I know a lot of banks do a lot of disaster recovery and disaster recovery essentially. Okay, so they have a lot of they've done. It's still manual, all right, in the sense that they have other networks of branch of data on-premise data systems. All right. So if one crashes, they can easily just move to the other branch and so on and so forth. But anyways, it's still manual, no doubt about that. It's not cloud-based. Well, less chance of data recovery. So if something gets burnt down, okay, something happens to this particular location, it's very difficult for you to get your data back. All right. Poor data security, absolutely, and less collaboration. So, like I said, the team in India, if you're using an on-premise, you will never be able to work with the people in India if they're using on-premise. All right. So those are the things you will get less collaboration. There are some ways you can work around it, no doubt about that. You have a VPN, you have what do you call this again? You have remote connections and all that. You can actually try to work it out, but it's too limited to a very large extent. So you always want to be connected to the VPN and use VPN to connect to a remote server, so on and so forth. Very complicated. It's not complicated. It's complicated and archaic also. Anyways, we have for cloud computing, disaster recovery, super better data security, and team can collaborate from widespread location. And that's why I'm talking about remote work. All of you are looking for remote work. The reason remote work is an in thing is because of cloud computing, because everything can be provided over the internet. So regardless of anywhere you are, you can access the cloud. All right. So types of cloud computing, I'm just going to walk through this very quickly. All right. Cloud computing, can be divided into two parts. Okay. So we have the deployment model and we have the service model. All right. So we have the deployment model and service model. So under deployment model, you can deploy cloud in terms of public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. Service model, we have IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and SaaS, which is software as a service. Now, I'll explain all this. I know all this is for a beginner might be so complicated and so off. All right. So let's start with deployment model. Okay. We talked about the public cloud. So we're looking at deployment model, how cloud can be deployed to an organization or for an organization. Okay. So our cloud can be deployed for an organization. So the first one we have here is the public cloud. Public. So I use an analogy. Take, for example, you have the downfall. Okay. So the downfall is a public transportation that anybody can use. Okay. It's available for the general public. So today you want to move from Yaba to Ikeja. What would you do? You can easily get, if there's no, you'll be able to get, not in this situation now where there's no fuel. Okay. But on a normal, you should be able to get a downfall public bus that will take you from one location to the other. It's not restricted. Anybody, any public person can enter. Old, young, small, large, anybody should be able to take the public transport. So that's public cloud. So there's a public cloud where anybody can access, anybody, you, me, everybody can access the cloud. Do you understand? So it's available for the general public, okay? And it is usually owned by a cloud provider. For example, AWS, Azure, IBM Cloud, Google Cloud Platform, and this DigitalOcean. There are other ones out there, no doubt about that, but these are like the most popular ones in the industry. Okay. So these are public cloud platforms that you and I can easily access. Okay. Now the next one is private. This is when you now buy your car. You buy your car like this Uber Toyota. All right. You buy your own personal car. Now this is always only available to you. You are the owner of your car. Nobody can come on outside and just take your car keys and start to drive it. Then that's a stealing. Do you understand? This is your car. A private cloud essentially is your own, designed for your own use, your organization use. All right. So it is managed by the organization or a third-party company. All right. So if you have the capacity to build yours, take for example, definitely likes of Amazon would have they are the owners of Amazon Web Services. So they will manage their own, it's private cloud for them. They can actually use a private cloud. All right. And also government agencies, majority of the government agencies across the world will be using private cloud. So even if they are not the owners of the cloud service, or even though they are not the one that built it, they can leverage third-party company. All right, they can leverage third-party company to, to have that infrastructure, that cloud infrastructure, private cloud infrastructure for their business. So if you're working with banks, even some banks will definitely be using private cloud for the customer information and so on and so forth. All right. So it is only accessible to you. It is expensive, doesn't support hourly pay. All right. Because it's one off. It's like when you're buying your car. All right. You can pay instrumentally, but most times you pay in Nigeria, you pay in full. You understand? You pay at once. Either you pay for a year, you pay, for a lump sum in order for you to access the platform itself. So that's private cloud. The last but not the least is Uber Cloud. Okay, not Uber Cloud, it's hybrid, it's called hybrid. All right. It gives you the flexibility, it gives you a mix between public and private. All right. So Uber, you don't own the car, all right, but it gives you the feel of that privacy. All right. So you're not in the bus where you're squished between five, six people. All right. The Uber is you. You're the only one in the car, or you're going with a friend or thereabout. It gives you that private feeling, but it's still public. You don't own the car. Do you understand? So it's a mix of public and private cloud. Okay. So the hybrid cloud is used majorly for institutions that are customer facing. Take, for example, let me say federal institutions like government institutions. All right. So government institutions like the NHS, for example, would have a private cloud, okay, that would use to store patient information, customer information, and so on and so forth. All right. But in order for them to communicate to the public, because if you want to get information about the NHS, you want to see things that are happening in the NHS, what's happening, basically communication, they would have another cloud that's public in which will allow customers interact with the NHS, get data from the NHS, and so on and so forth. All right. So those are the things that you need to get, that you need to understand at the end of the day. All right. So government parastatals, government institution, and so many other institutions, not only government. All right. They can actually have the private cloud, okay, to store private information. All right. Then the public information, they could use the public cloud. That's exactly so. Depending on the organization, depending on their need, they can either use any of these types of cloud. All right. The public cloud, that is easily accessible by anybody. All right. It's cheaper. Obviously, it's the cheapest, easily accessible to everyone, and it's just pay as you go. So for the space you need, you buy the space you need, so on and so forth. Private is more customized to the organization's need. All right. It can be owned by the organization or by a third-party company. So hybrid is a mix of both private and public together. All right. Now, let's talk about the service model. Let's talk about the service model. And I'm going to use an example to explain the service model, but because this particular concept, all right, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service, people don't really understand. All right. So let me explain it using an example, my personal example, so you understand it a bit better. So the real life, let's use a real life software application. Okay, real life software application is building and hosting a website. I'm going to use, let's take for example, you want to build a website. Okay, you want to build and you want to host a website. I'm going to use this example to explain IaaS, infrastructure as a service. I'm going to use the same example to explain PaaS, which is platform as a service, and SaaS, software as a service. So let's start with infrastructure as a service, first of all. So imagine you want to create a personal website to share your data engineering portfolio. You've gone through the 10 analytics data engineering program, and you've done so many projects, and you want to put everything in your portfolio. What would you do? All right. You want to build a website that will house all this portfolio. Okay. Well, now the key thing is you don't have servers, you don't have server or the technical infrastructure to host a website. You don't have. You don't have anything that will host the website for you. All right. So what would you do? You'll do what? Instead of buying servers and managing them yourself, you decide to use a cloud-based platform, AWS. So you can design your website, okay, but launch it on or host it on AWS, okay? You can host it on AWS. So AWS Web Services is the infrastructure as a service. So that your website, you have your website already. Amazon is not going to help you design your website. You have your website, you've designed your website. All right. But now you're looking for a platform where you can host your website. All right. So you see, AWS offers virtual servers, storage, networking, and so on, acting as an infrastructure for hosting your website. So you can host your website on AWS. All right. So you are the user that benefits from AWS infrastructures without worrying about hardware maintenance and server maintenance or server management. Okay. So you have your website and you just host it on Amazon Web Services. All right. So, it's Amazon that will now take care of, the infrastructures in terms of the hardware maintenance, server maintenance, and so on. AWS will be doing that. You don't need to disturb yourself. All you know is that your website has been designed, host it on AWS. AWS, in terms of the infrastructure, the backend, and all that, AWS will handle all that. Okay. Now, let's talk about platform as a service. Now, let's use that same example of designing a website. Okay. So now you have concluded to use AWS as your hosting, as your where you host your infrastructure for setup, essentially. All right. Now you now thought about it and said that developing a website from scratch is time consuming, it's difficult. It's not easy. Maybe you started initially and you've now saw that, oh, this thing is taking so much of my time, so much of my energy. I need to do research, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so on and so forth to make it look interesting and nice. All right. So it's becoming too much. So rather than you building the website yourself, you now went to a platform called Wix. Wix. Do you guys know Wix? I'm sure you guys know Wix. All right. Or WordPress. Okay. Now, this platform, Wix, WordPress, are what we call platform as a service. Platform as a service, meaning that, Wix offers web development platform with pre-built template designs and features. So now, all this, when you go to Wix, all right, everything is designed in the cloud already. All right, the website is designed, everything is designed. All you need to do is just focus on customizing the website, the appearance, and content to suit your own need. All right. So you're not the one designing the website anymore. Wix is good. I'm sorry, I'm very terrible with pronunciation for the web platform. All right, Wix is going to design out, is designed already. All you need to just do is adjust, all right, and leverage. So that's a platform that offers a service. All right. It's a platform that offers a service. And the service essentially is that you can build your website, adjust it, so on and so forth. And then once you finish designing and doing everything on Wix, all right, you can still host it on AWS. All right. So Wix now is your platform as a service, while your hosting platform is the infrastructure, the AWS is your infrastructure as a service. All right. Now, software as a service is the last thing. You've designed your website on Wix, you are hosting it on AWS. Okay. Now, you now want to add a live chat feature to your website so that if any recruiter comes on sees your profile and they want to request for like a chat, they want to do a video chat or something, they want to chat up with you. All right. Would you go and start designing your own software, your own live chat software? Would you be going ahead to design yours? Impossible. You wouldn't do that. What would you do? You would leverage other software as a services platform, like what? Like what? You could use Zoom. You could use Google Meet. They have all APIs that you can put into your website and leverage video call confirmations and all that. All right. So those are the distinctions between the three of them. All right. Or you could use Intercom. All right. This is another SAS provider. All right. Software as a service. But you could use Zoom, you could use Google Meet, there are so many Skype and so on and so forth that you could actually incorporate or integrate into your website in order for you to have that live chat feature. All right. So infrastructure is you're not caring about the back end. the servers, the storage, networking, basically infrastructure. You see, when you're talking about on-premise, that room that has a lot of metallic stuff with wires going in and out of different places, that's the infrastructure. So when you build a website, you will need that kind of infrastructure to host your website on so that people can access it from anywhere. All right. But with this infrastructure, AWS as an infrastructure as a service, they will provide you with those infrastructures, the server, the storage, the networking resources, and so on and so forth over the internet. Platform as a service is with, okay? The platform allows you to design your website. Okay, it allows you to design your website because obviously designing your website from scratch is time consuming and so on. So you can do that on platform as a service. Software as a service is, you want to integrate a live chat feature on your website. You don't just want to develop another software to do that. What would you do? You just leverage another platform, another software essentially that already has that feature inbuilt within them. Okay, and you can host it on your website. So that's the difference between them. So one key thing is why AWS. And you can see this is based on Q1 2023. And that's the reason why we focus more on AWS. And that's because they still have market dominance. So they have 32%, of the market, followed by Azure, Google Cloud, Cloud Alibaba, we have IBM Cloud, we have Salesforce, Oracle, Tencent, and so on. All right. So cloud infrastructure service revenue in Q1 2023 was $63 billion. Now, according to Gartner also, this was coming from Statista, okay? And according to Gartner, all right, you see AWS, Amazon Web Services are the top leader in the industry. All right, and this was what, according to Platform as a Service 2022. All right, so you see they are the leader currently, and still the leader till now. So they have market dominance, and that's the reason why we train people using AWS. We train people using AWS. So AWS services used for AWS cloud engineering. Okay, AWS services used for AWS cloud engineering, and these are the things that you'll be learning. All right. So you'll be working with Amazon EC2 instances. You'll be working with IAM, which is identity access management. You'll be working with AWS Lambda. You'll be working with AWS Glue, Amazon S3 buckets, Amazon Redshift, Amazon Kinesis, Athena, CloudWatch, and Amazon EMR. All right. So these are the services that you would need, all right, as an AWS cloud engineer. All right. And these are some of the things you'll be working with and you'll be building projects with as you go on in the training program. Okay. So these are Amazon services. They are more than this. They are Amazon services that are clearly way more than 30, 40 of them. All right. So, but for cloud engineering, all right, these are the ones you'll be using for cloud engineering. All right. So the average salary of a cloud engineer in the UK is £55,000. I think according to Glassdoor. In the United States, it is $121. In $121,000 in the US. And in Canada, it's 102 Canadian dollars, all right, according to Indeed. All right. So these are all platforms. The links are there for you to click on to access and check out yourself. Okay. But now the key question is how to get started as an AWS cloud engineer. How do you get started? Let's walk you through how you can get started. All right. So it's very simple. The training program is for 3 months. All right. Becoming a data engineer in 3 months. Okay. 3 months. So you'll be learning PostgreSQL. You'll be learning SQL in short. You'll be learning SQL. You'll be learning Python. You'll be learning AWS, Amazon Redshift, Pandas. You learn how to work with Amazon S3 bucket, Apache Spark, Apache Airflow, GitHub, Linux, and ChatGPT, including GitHub Copilot. You'll be working with all these technologies, all right? And those are the steps you'll be taking in order for you to become a data engineer in 3 months. This training program also comes with 2 months free internship, 2 months of free internship. So you have 3 months of learning, practical-based learning, project-based learning, and 2 months of free internship. So you have 2 months to work on more projects, build more, build more portfolios, build more projects and add it to your portfolio. Now, the project program overview, it's 100% online, virtual instructor led plus lifetime access to the materials. Okay, so it's 100% online. So regardless of anywhere you are in the world, you're in China, you're in India, you are in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, Sierra Leone, Gambia, anywhere in the world, really, you can access the platform. All right, so it's in the cloud. Okay, I think you will learn that today. All right, so it's online. All right, we use Zoom, we use Google Meet for our classes, and it's virtual instructor led. You have an experienced professional like myself putting you through the training program. And after the training program, you have lifetime access to the materials, the case studies, the instructors, people that work with you, and so on. It's hands-on practical with videos, exercises, and projects. So, we talked about cloud engineering before. Today, we did just, theoretical work together, but majority of our classes are more practical. And if you've attended any of our practical classes, you would see them that every concept that we're introducing basically is using practical case studies, real life case studies to, fortress the point. The classes, you have 20 plus classes with 50 topics, 100% job prospect visibility. So we'll work with you to show you opportunities that exist in the industry. So 100% will work with you hand in hand, get you all the places you need to see where you can get jobs and all that. Industry relevant certification. You get a certificate after completing the training program. And you'll be adding 10 projects to your portfolio. You'll be adding 10 projects to your portfolio. All right. So the next part of it is how do you get started, the learning process, okay? So first thing you're going to start with is introduce you to data engineering. You're a beginner or you're just starting, you literally would be introduced into data engineering. So either you're a beginner, you're an expert, whatever background you're coming in from, everybody would be introduced into data engineering. What is data engineering? Who's the data engineer, the managers of data engineers, so on and so forth. So regardless of anywhere you're coming from, we're going to start from the basics, okay? Database fundamentals and all that. All right. So the next thing you're going to learn is Python and SQL. So you're going to learn Python and SQL. The key tool of a data engineer is Python and SQL. You'll be working with Python and SQL. The next, after you've finished learning Python and SQL, you'll learn batch commands and version control, Linux and GitHub. So you'll be using Linux for batch commands, and also you'll be learning GitHub for version control and CI/CD. Okay. And after that, you'll be learning data modeling. You'll be learning data modeling. After data modeling, you get to work with pandas for data, for writing, reading, and working with data, bringing in your data transformation, data wrangling, and so on. All right. Now, once you finish with pandas, you move into Apache Spark. Okay. From Apache Spark, you get to work with data extraction, how to move data from one place to the other, build your pipelines and all that. The next thing is data cleaning and transformation. So once you learn how to extract the data, the next thing is to clean, transform, and load the data. So you'll also be working with AWS as a cloud platform to perform your extract, transform, and load operations. So you'll be loading data to the cloud, working with how you can get data, automating the process using Apache Airflow and all that. So once you get to that, you get to work with Amazon Web Services, data pipeline orchestration. So when you build your data pipeline, you need to automate it, okay? And you automate it using what we call Apache Airflow. So you'll be working with Apache Airflow to build orchestration. All right. And last but not the least, you'll be getting your certificates and you'll be jumping as a master data engineer. So this is the pathway to becoming a certified master data engineer. All right. So from introduction as a beginner all the way to data pipeline and orchestration using Apache Airflow. All right. So this is a more detailed walkthrough on each of the topics. So database, you can see data engineering fundamentals, introduction to data engineering, why data engineering concept, big data. All right. What is big data? The 5 E's. database introduction, cloud computing introduction. So what we did today, you'll be doing it, but in more details. All right. Python programming, you'll be working with spreadsheet data analysis, processing JSON and REST payloads, Python database programming, and all of that. So you'll be doing like an end-to-end, and all this basically will be sent to you so you can access, read by yourself, and make sense out of it. So basically, we've walked you through everything during the process. So, database modeling, pandas, working with pandas, Apache Spark, data extraction, data cleaning, computing, cloud computing, and data pipeline orchestration. But you see, learning the technical skill, okay? Learning the technical skill is just 50% of what you get from the training program. It's just 50% of what you get from the training program. So, like I said, the key thing for us is to get you into your desired career path. So, if you're going for the data engineering training program, we would work with you to get you to land a job in data engineering. All right. So, the first thing we're going to do for you is to review your CV. All right. So regardless of anywhere you're coming from, regardless of previous experience, you don't have experience, you're coming from a place you have experience, you don't have experience, whatever the situation is, we're going to help you review your CV. Now, these additional parts, they're all free of charge. All right. You don't pay a dime for this. Okay. So we're going to do CV review for you. All right. LinkedIn optimization. We'll do a LinkedIn optimization so that when potential recruiters are looking for a job, are looking for people to fill up a particular role, your profile will be on top. All right. So whenever they search, your would always be on top. That's what we talk about LinkedIn optimization, not just to beautify your page, but to ensure that when they're looking for people, your profile is always going to pop up. All right. The next thing is Upwork optimization. We're going to be doing Upwork optimization for you so you can get jobs working freelance and all that. Navigating the job market as a beginner, obviously, you wouldn't know where to apply for jobs, especially if you're looking for remote jobs. Where do you go to search for remote jobs? We're going to help you with that also. So navigating the job market comes with it. Okay. All right. Navigating the job market would be showing you places where you can get remote opportunity, remote jobs, and all that. And if you're looking for jobs in Nigeria, you're looking for jobs in the UK, you're in Canada looking for jobs, we'd also work with you to see how you can get jobs in this region and all that. So that's basically what the navigating the job market session does for you. Recommendation and reference letter will provide you with recommendation and reference letter. So anytime you apply for a job, you get the job. Most recruiters will always ask you for recommendation and reference letter. So we're going to do that for you, provide you with this. So especially if you're coming from a place where you have no experience, so you're a cleaner, you're a farmer, your previous experience. All right. It's difficult for your previous organizations to stand in to back up your data engineering skills that you've learned. So that's where we come in because you're going to be working on quite a number of projects, assignments, and deploying things by yourself. We will be writing recommendation and reference letter for you. Next thing is job and interview preparation. So once you apply for a job, you get a call back for an interview. We will prepare you for the interview. Okay. Weekly mentorship sessions every Thursday. That's the seventh part. Okay. So you get a weekly mentorship session. We have one scheduled for tomorrow for our current cohorts. I would have shown you actually on Thursday, not tomorrow. All right. On Thursday, we have one scheduled on Thursday to walk you through what you'll be learning. And we have on the job support, okay, on the job support. So once you land a job and you have questions, you have concerns, or you don't know how to perform an operation that was given to you, you would have our support on the job support. So really, the whole idea for us, like I usually reiterate every single time, is for you to go through the training program and land a job of your choice. All right, land a job that is beneficial to you and you're making the best of yourself. So these are additional benefits. So learning the technical skill is just 50%. The other 50%, this is what we'd offer for you. So you'll be working on, CV review, linked optimization, Upwork optimization, navigating the job market, remote opportunities, tech opportunities, and all that. Recommendation and reference letter, job and interview preparation, mentorship session, and on-the-job support. All right. So these are the things. So once you complete the training program, these are some of the roles you can actually take on. All right. You can work as a business intelligence developer, a data engineer, big data analyst, analytics engineer, ETL developer, technical architect, data science engineer, and quantitative engineer. So these are some of the roles you can actually take on once you finish the data engineering training program. You can work as an AWS cloud engineer, so on and so forth. There are quite a number of roles you can actually take on. All right. So these are some of the sites you can actually use to get remote jobs. And I'm just going to show you one because we don't have too much time. So I'm not going to waste too much time showing you places. Quickly, just show you. I'm going to go to Flex Jobs first of all. Then I'll check Glassdoor also. So Flex Jobs, and I'm just going to search for data engineer. And you see data engineer, and these are all, let me just search for United States. This is literally everywhere in the world. So let me look for the United States. Okay, I'm going to search. All right. So data engineer, 100% remote, data engineer, 100% remote job, data engineer, 100%, data engineer, 100%. So you see, these are jobs that are available. And let me check another place. This is one part where you can actually get jobs, remote jobs. All right. The next part is Glassdoor. These are places that at least you're familiar with. We also have our own places where we use for our in-house participants that obviously can't show you just yet. Anyways, I'm going to show you the places where you can easily get one if you're learning by yourself. Okay. So I'm going to click on jobs. I'm going to come here. This is United Kingdom. I don't want United Kingdom, but if you are looking for United Kingdom, you can easily check that out. Okay. So I'm going to use United States. Okay. And I'm going to be searching for data engineering also. Okay. I'm going to be searching for data engineering. And you see that remote jobs actually exist. Remote jobs exist. It's just that a lot of you, a lot of you don't know that it exists. So what I'll do is, you see where you have more. So currently these are all jobs for data engineer. All right. So I'll click on more and ensure it is work from home only and tick the box. All right. So once you do that, everything here is fully remote. But this has moved back from, I'm going to go back to the United States. United States. All right. So these are all remote jobs. I'm going to work from home in the United States. Okay. Data engineer, 100% remote, Pennsylvania. Data engineer, remote. Data engineer, Gemini. All right. Data engineer, lead data engineer. And you can see the pay attached to you, every single one of them. And these are all fully 100% remote. 100% remote. So the key question you need to be asking yourself. So all the things you've been learning, yeah, everything you'll be taught here. All right. Prepare database load files for the data warehouse. So everything ETL, you can see all the ETL we talked about, extract, transform, and load, everything you've been working on, you will be doing the same thing. All right. So you'll be working with tools like Python, you'll be working with tools with SQL, so on and so forth. And the same thing with every other place you go to. So this job exists, especially for guys that are looking for remote jobs, looking for remote opportunities, and so on. You will definitely get all this, and more. I will still have other places where we have an in-house person that'll be working with you to get that particular opportunity. All right. So you can use LinkedIn, remote.co, built-in. I didn't even check out built-in. You can use Well-Found, Upwork. These are all places where you can get remote opportunities. All right. So moving on to the next thing, the internship. So the internship is 2 months free of charge. All right, where you get to own your skills more in order for you to get more opportunities, to have more projects you've worked on, give you more confidence. You can add it to your CV. All right. You'll be working on more end-to-end solutions, building data infrastructures, all right, deploying data, performance data pipelines and all that in order for you to get, more comfortable, more equipped in order for you to get, what you're looking for. Now, people get jobs even before they start the internship. And that's the beauty of the training program because the training itself is hands-on practical. Okay. The internship is it's just like you laying your blocks. All right. You're trying to build a house. You've laid your blocks finished. You've built your house completely. What would you still do? You will still plaster. Okay. And you still paint. So the internship is the plastering and the painting just to ensure you are more comfortable you're more confident in your skills and so on. But we still have a lot of people that go through the training program. Even before finishing the training program, they land a job. All right. And that's like the beauty for us. So my facilitators, you have myself, you have Timmy, has a wealth of experience, over 6 years experience working within the tech ecosystem, deploying data pipeline, working as a software engineer and as a data engineer. She has trained over 800 people across the world, a data engineer, and I've helped them and has helped them transition. Kelvin Oyana, superstar facilitator, also experienced professional, 6+ years in building optimal cloud infrastructure, performance data pipeline, and analytics solution to power their analytics and ML initiative. So you see, he has worked with quite a number of firms, currently works for a company based off in Canada. Obina currently works with Moonvo with Canada. All right, also one of the top-notch facilitators I've been working with you. Byron, data engineer, 6+ years experience, working as he currently facilitates for tech analytics, also works as a business and data lead with Toju, all right, and so on and so forth. So these are, people that you'll be working with that will be unholding you and guiding you through your journey as a data engineer. Abdurrahman, Ibrahim, and Marshall, machine learning engineer, all right, absolutely fantastic, smart professional that will be working with you. Abdurrahman Yaniwura is a data science consultant with one of the big four consulting firms here in the UK. Is also going to be working with you. So you have quite a number of people that have international experience that are going to be working with you. Daniel Opanubi also is one of the facilitators I'll be working with you. Currently works as a data engineer with iTex Integrated Services. All right, also facilitator with Ten Analytics. Okay, so he used to work with data as a data engineer of Vienna, Berlin, based of, and it's based in Nigeria, working for international firms. And you see, that's like a norm for most, data engineers at the moment, where they can get remote opportunities and all that. So the training program starts on the 5th of August, which is this Saturday. But we're still running a discount for a late discount actually, just to encourage more people to register to get you into the classes. So if you're looking to register, deadline is going to be tomorrow. The deadline is tomorrow if you're looking to register. Okay, so rather than paying £500, all right, rather than paying £500, you could actually pay £400. So you have a discount of £100. So rather than pay £450, you can also pay £350. So we have £400, okay, that can be split into two installments, 300 and 100. And you can also pay £350 in two installments of £250 and 100. So this is going to take you end to end in data engineering, end to end in data engineering. So that's exactly what we'll be doing in class. Okay. So looking forward to seeing you join the session. Looking forward to seeing you join the program. Okay, these are the account numbers. Billy also has dropped the account number and the link for you to register in the chat. So if you go to the chat and you click on the main stack link, okay, the main stack link, it will take you to this platform where you can get access to all the brochures. All right. And you can upload it. Once you made your payment, click here to upload your receipt here. Click here to upload your receipt here. So please, if you've made payment, please ensure you upload your receipt. Please ensure you upload your receipt. All right. So this is the last call for people to get registered. Program is starting on Saturday. All right. Registration will close tomorrow. Registration closes tomorrow. So let's get started. Someone is saying I saw an attendance August or September. Does still apply to September entrance too? If you make payments now, yes, it will. All right, but I can't guarantee that it's going to be the discount in December also. In September, I mean. I cannot guarantee that there'll be a discount in September. Okay. So Billy, do you want to handle the Nathaniel? Nathaniel, are you there? Do you want to unmute yourself? I mean, Nathaniel is one of our is one of our participants at the moment going through the training program. I would like to share his own personal experience. So, Nathaniel, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Perfectly, yes, we can. Do you want to turn your video so we can see you? Oh, fantastic. I'm just gonna.
Yeah. So I cannot see myself, but okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Nathaniel. I am from the July cohort, and I would like to, of course, to try and encourage everyone who is thinking, of course, and thinking of joining the data engineering, the next cohort. If you're there and you're thinking, oh, I don't think I can do this, trust me, there are very good facilitators who are on the ground to teach you, and then to, of course, not just there to teach you, they are there to take you from that level that you are, and then try to, of course, take you to that level that you want to be. They literally would not assume that you have like background knowledge in anything. They will teach you from the scratch. Timmy has been doing an amazing job teaching us from the scratch. Of course, I had like a previous background in using some tools such as Python, but then Timmy would really assume that everyone are on the same level, and then each would teach you from zero level to an amazing level. So I'm encouraging everyone who wants to join because of course the tech world needs people like us. The Indians are like, going into tech, and then there are little or no Africans, going into tech. So if we should, of course, as African, go into tech, and then we can actually do it if we really want to do it. So I would encourage you to join and be part of a data engineer because it's really rewarding. I'd really want to share a little story just to back this up. I said before that I had experience as a data analyst. I studied data analyst with an educational school in the US. But then after I graduated, I couldn't find a job because, of course, the way they were teaching. And then like a novice, I just overheard 10 analytics on Instagram, and I was like, okay, let me see if I can actually join as a data engineer because I saw data engineering because of course I wanted to optimize myself. And when I joined, fortunately for me, I had like an interview, data analytics interview with a pharmaceutical company here in Europe. And I reached out to Evelyn, and then she immediately scheduled an appointment with one of the facilitator who would help me with the interview. It took less than 20 minutes, and she connected me with Mohammed, who only gave me, I would say, in 20 minutes, he gave me tips of how to haze the interview. And when I got during the interview, I was able to impressed the interviewer a lot, and then I got and it wasn't a junior role. It's a mid senior role, and you can imagine a mid senior role, and I never really had like an experience as a data analyst. So I am currently a student as a data engineer, and you can imagine by the time I'm done as a data engineer, you can imagine how much I would have gained from 10 analytics. So I would encourage you, if you're there thinking, oh, I don't think I can do it, trust me, you can do it, and you can actually do it and outperform people who had already had like an experience in it because they would literally teach you from the ground zero and then take you to like ground 10. So
Mhm.
yeah, trust me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, trust me, you can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Nathaniel, thanks a lot for that. Thanks for taking our time on a Monday to
You're
speak to
welcome,
our
sir. You're welcome,
prospective. I
sir.
appreciate you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome,
that
sir.
big time.
Yes, sir.
All right. And congrats on your new job also. Appreciate it. You'll watch it for us, yeah? All right. No issues. Thanks a lot, Nathaniel. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So this I'm just gonna take 2 or 3 more questions. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to. So the common saying is the best time to start something was 10 years ago or 100 years ago. All right, and the next best time is now. So if you're looking to become a data engineer before the end of the year, get a job, work, earning foreign currency and all that, please don't hesitate to get started. All right, so I'm just going to take a few questions and I'm just going to allow people to unmute themselves. So Larry, please go ahead to unmute yourself and I'll take 2 questions and we'll call it a day.
Good day, sir. Thank you for the
Good day, Larry. Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir, I want to confirm, sir, what is the link between data engineering and cloud? Because I
What's
know
the
data
link?
what I mean is a data engineer actually a cloud engineer? Because I know there are people that say, okay, they are into AWS certification, blah blah blah, and that's what they do.
Okay.
But then I know that maybe data engineering is like a step after data science or a related function. So or is it the same? I just don't know. I don't know if you get
Absolutely.
my drift, sir.
I get you. So the key, like that's the reason why I was having, that's why we even have a class today. So majority of these organizations are moving to the cloud. Okay, so they have an on-premise data or they have a legacy system that needs to be moved. So if you've ever heard of data migration, migrating to the cloud, majority of the companies across the world are now moving to the cloud. All right. So your key role as a data engineer is to make this move, to make the move from on-premise database structures into the cloud. That's your role as a data engineer. All right. So that's exactly what you'll be doing. So, and that's the reason why we did it. The class today was we talked about AWS cloud engineering, whereby all right, telling you about the functionalities, why the cloud, and so on. Okay, and why the businesses are moving to the cloud. Okay, so that's exactly what we talked about today. And yes, as a data engineer, you'll be leveraging the cloud platform. For this program, we're leveraging AWS, all right, which is Amazon Web Services. So you'll be getting to work with AWS as a data engineer. So you can still work, you can get jobs as an AWS cloud engineer, all right. You'll be working, you won't just be working with AWS platform services. You will also be working with Python, SQL, PySpark, what else? Apache Airflow, and so on and so forth, Linux and all that, in order for you to interact with the web and so on and so forth, and move data from on-premise data structures into the cloud. So yeah, that's the correlation. So the cloud platform provides them that pay as you go service, okay, all right, where they can put as much documents, as much information, as much data in the cloud. So majority of these organizations need a data engineer that will be able to make this move, all right, make the move of data within their local system or their legacy systems into the cloud. All right, so that's what you'll be doing as a data engineer. So you can also work as an AWS cloud engineer and so on and so forth. I hope that makes sense to you. All right.
Yes, thank you, sir. It does.
So I would say, I don't know what this is. Francis, I really don't understand. I'm not sure I really understand. Okay. I'm not really sure. You can send us a message and we can have a one-on-one conversation to discuss that. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So just send a message to this. So you see this WhatsApp number. All right. Just take a screenshot. Please send a message to the WhatsApp number and we can take it off from there. We can have that one-on-one conversation. Okay. So Francis, that's for you. And to anybody that still wants like a one-on-one conversation, please just send a message to this number and request that you want to speak to. It's a Mena. All right. So a call will be scheduled and we'll get to talk. Okay. So this class, like I said, deadline is tomorrow. The class is going to be started. The deadline for registration is tomorrow. So if you're looking to start as soon as possible, please join the train and we'll be happy to work with you in your journey to becoming a cloud engineer, a data engineer, and so on. All right. So, anyways, we're not going to be wasting too much time today. It's going to be a 2 hour session. All right. Thank you very much, Abeda, for that. Thank you very much. All right. It's going to be a 2 hour session. We're not going to be wasting too much time. Thank you very much. And if there's any concern or any question or anything at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. All right. Do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you very much, guys. And looking forward to having you all in the training program. All right. Cheers, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much. And have a good night.